Welcome to Fight News Now. I'm John Pollock. On today's show, I'll be chatting with John Ramdien and Robin Black. We're going to dive into the light heavyweight bout that many people are not talking about, involving Anthony Johnson and Glover Teixeira. Plus, Dana White has made some comments regarding Jon Jones and his future. We'll also be bringing you the latest episodes of UFC Embedded and the Bad Blood preview special as we go into Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz's rematch this Saturday night. I'm here with John Ramdien and Robin Black. It is UFC 202 Fight Week, and certainly the lion's share of the attention is on the main event. But we have a number of important fights on this card, and probably with title implications, right at the top of that list is Anthony Johnson and Glover Teixeira. I think almost certainly the winner of this fight's for the light heavyweight title, but interestingly enough, Jon Jones, with the combination of a video he posted and now comments from Dana White, I don't think Jon Jones is too far removed from this discussion, because now Dana White, I guess Dr. Dana White, is stating that the drug that everyone thought was in Jon Jones' system, it might be something else. This going against the fact that the A and B sample came back, and we know that it was two estrogen blockers that were found in his test. So I don't know how much stock you put into this, but it's at least Dana White that is kind of clouding the issue now of what exactly was in Jon Jones' system.
I'm sure Dana White's got his fingers crossed, saying hopefully this is what happens and somehow Jon Jones makes his way back to the UFC sooner rather than later, that there's not some lengthy suspension, 2+ years. Daniel Cormier tweeted out, "I'm fighting the winner of Anthony Rumble Johnson and Glover Teixeira. It doesn't matter who it is, that's who I'm fighting." And I think that makes sense, because that's who, when you look at the light heavyweight picture right now, there's not a whole lot of big name players, especially if you pull Jon Jones out of the equation. You have the two guys fighting in the co-main event. You have Alexander Gustafsson, and you might have a couple of others, but no real sexy type fighters that are going to sell huge amounts of pay-per-view. So, I mean, this is the landscape that we have right now. And I mean, Anthony Johnson also talked about maybe going to fight at heavyweight. So there's a lot of options for Anthony Johnson, but I think the biggest option for him would be you get this victory over Glover Teixeira, you have another opportunity to become your opportunity to become the UFC champion.
Yeah, I mean, he lost to Cormier once, and we don't like to see him fight Jon Jones. He's really the last viable contender, last very real threat to Jones. This whole Jones thing, I'm a little torn personally. I'm a huge Jones fan. I hope that he doesn't get
Are you a Jon
suspended.
Jones fan? Or are you a fan of everything that he's been able to achieve in his mixed martial arts career? You look at his creativity, his aggressive nature, the things that he does. Is that what you love about Jon Jones?
There's a big difference between
the man,
the athlete and the person outside of the cage. And you have seen both in direct contrast.
Exactly.
True, but I have a hard time differentiating. A person is a combination of all the things that they are. You know, a person is not their dumbest video that they've released. They're not their worst moment that they've had in their life. They're not their best moment that they've had in their life.
There's a bunch of moments like
Sure,
this.
but a man or a woman is a combination of many moments. As a society, we'll go, oh my God, Jones tweeted this. That's a sign of who he really is. Or, oh my God, Jones did something terrible one day, or 2 days, or 3 days. That's a sign of who he really is. He's a complex blend of all of these things. And the thing about him that draws me to him as a fan, as a supporter, is the beauty of the martial arts, what he can do physically, what he can do mentally within the cage, how you can inspire people through your best moments. Yes, the guy's had some terrible moments, but if you choose to only fixate on those, you can. If you choose to only fixate on the great ones, you can. It is all of those things. So on one hand, I want to see him fight. On the other hand, one of my biggest pet peeves is the lack of critical thinking that we all have. If it turns out that the guy comes out and goes, see, I know I didn't declare JohnRamdien.com supplements, but look, I will present you a JohnRamdien.com supplement. And look, lo and behold, this one contains the very estrogen blocker that I was suspended for. People will say, see, he didn't do it. No, all that would mean is he brought in a bottle that he didn't claim and said he took that. There are many reasons that these things could happen. One is you took supplements that were tainted. Another is instead of losing $30 million over the next few years, you went out and found a lab that had that. Another is that there are lists, master lists of supplements and all the things that they contain. Another is when you make $30 million that you have a doctor who says, I'm 90% sure you won't get caught for this, but if you do, here's a supplement that it's in. There's a million reasons. If and when he's found to have some excuse, we use critical thinking. We think of the other possibilities other than, well, I lied and didn't declare this one, but really in it, look, this is the one I took. There's a lot of other reasons, but at the same time, I just want to see the guy fight.
Well, as we exercise this thought process out, I mean, it seems that some people took Dana White's comments to somehow mean he didn't have anything in his system. He stated that he may have had a different substance in his body. We don't know what that is. On top of that, this would be going against the labs that analyzed the A and B samples. So, I mean, there is quite a barrier that I still see in front of all this that will play itself out publicly. And to me, all Dana White has done is lead people to just guess.
Sure.
We're guessing in the middle, and all we can go on is the evidence that has been put forward thus far, which was at the Nevada Commission.
True, but what it is you have the promoter of the world's biggest mixed martial arts organization saying, we're not sure. Jon Jones could be back, still including him in this conversation.
The UFC's not for sale.
Exactly. So it's just trying to keep a fighter relevant. They know what they have in Jon Jones, whether people love him or they hate him. Yeah, sure, he's not Conor McGregor, he's not Ronda Rousey when it comes to pay-per-view buys, but he sure as hell sells a lot more pay-per-views than 95% of the organization. So Dana understands what he has, and he does not want Jon Jones to be sitting on the sidelines for 2+ years.
And this is just the world that we live in, man. You go watch a TV show about politics. They're not talking about politics. They're talking about tweets. That's what's happening in the world that we live in right now. There's all kinds of misinformation and all kinds of lack of critical thinking. And if you're going to play within the structure, you have to deal with it.
Last thing, all three of us want to send our best to Chael Sonnen and his family, who are going through a very difficult health process with their newborn child. So we are wanting to send our best to him. That is going to wrap it up for us. Our preview show will be coming up this Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Time, as we look ahead to UFC 202 and the rematch involving Nate Diaz and Conor McGregor.